Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Linda and today the gallery wall is going up. We've been in our house now a little over a month, and while we really got things set up and operational, we really haven't put a whole lot of time, effort, or really attention into the finer details, the things that really make a house a home. A lot of that falls on just the fact that it's only been a month and a half. We had the holidays, we've had a lot of events in the beginning of the year just to kick off 2022, and we've been really busy. So I'm really excited to finally be working on some of those finer detailed touches. I really contemplated this video for a while, just because the gallery wall that I am putting up today, I kind of hesitated to do until our couch arrived, just because we wanted to make sure that where the dining room table was going to be a permanent spot so that we could center the gallery wall, and then things like being able to put up the shelves under the TV. Now, just based on where the economy is and the fact that things are delayed, we're looking at April before we can get the shelves we want for under the TV. And the couch, we really have no idea when it's coming. We're hoping April, could be May, might be June, I don't know. But that's just kind of the nature of what things look like right now, is that there's so much in terms of delay. So I've decided that I'm going to be putting up the gallery wall. We have a pretty solid grasp on where the dining room table is going to stay. The couch is big, but it's not so big that it's going to change the layout of our main floor. So we're going to go ahead and do this. The gallery wall that we are putting on our main floor behind our dining room table is one that we've been putting a decent amount of thought into over the last little while. We bought things with the intention of them eventually going up on a gallery wall. I made the decision after a lot of hunting on Pinterest that I wanted a gallery wall that was a little bit more creative, a little bit more colorful, a little bit more not symmetrical. And then I also took into account with our gold finishes that when we got married, all of the table frames, our guest signing book, I bought all gold frames. So I bought all of our wedding frames knowing that they would eventually be used in our gallery wall. This video today, I am basically going to share with you the process of planning a gallery wall, creative tips that I've used to make sure that it's just right before holes go into the wall. I am not particularly fond of command strips because I just find that they destroy the walls. So I am absolutely going to be putting things up with nails and screws and drywall anchors where needed, and I'm really excited about it. Let's take a look at where the gallery wall is going, and let's start digging through some of the pieces I already have in my house that we can use for this project. This big wall here behind the dining room table is where the gallery wall is going to be going. You can see that I've already put together a pile of things over here. So my intention is that the gallery wall will sit center to this table and high enough that no one's going to hit their head on anything when they're seated. So being that we are a little bit more minimalist, it was really important to me that our gallery wall entailed pieces that we already have in our home. While I know that there are definitely a few things that I'm going to need to purchase for the wall, just based on kind of what I'm envisioning in my head, I also want to keep that to a minimal. I want to use what I have not spend more money than needed. And I really want to make sure that it's very personal. So while I see a lot of gallery walls that have very generic pictures that are nice, but generic, I want to make sure that every single picture has a really strong meaning for us. So as I mentioned, a lot of these gold frames are pieces that we used for our wedding. Obviously, what's in them right now is going to come out because I don't need a lifetime reminder telling our guests to grab a blanket in their picnic basket. So we'll be taking those out, but I do have 2 different but same size frames in gold with slightly different texture. This was our guest book. So it's got the Mr. and Mrs. Castro, our wedding day, and everyone that came and signed. So this is going to be going up as it is. This print right here, this was actually, it just has a really crazy story. So this is the Alexander Bridge in Paris, and this is where Jason proposed to me. What's crazy about it is we didn't get this print there. It was actually Jason's mom who was at a greenhouse, and she saw the picture. Right away, she recognized it because it was a family trip. They were there when Jason proposed, but it was a picture that had been sitting in the greenhouse for a long time because most people don't know what it is other than that it's a beautiful bridge, and it hadn't sold. So she saw it, she absolutely wanted to get it for us. We are so grateful because it just has so much meaning. So I'm hoping to include this larger piece in the gallery wall. I have a macrame piece. I've got a pothos here somewhere that basically it's just rooted in water. It's hung in this macrame that I made in the old place. I love it, so we're going to put it back in here and incorporate it into the gallery wall just to add some greenery. I've got a small black frame. I've got a handful of small frames that can hang either horizontally or vertically. And then I've got this unit that we printed from our engagement shoot. We'll be able to have sit on a shelf because I don't want to commit to putting this many holes, 4 holes in the wall for this. But we're going to see if we can't find a way to incorporate this as well. So this is what I'm starting with, and we're going to play around with it as we go. I have another frame here, but it's made of plastic and it looks the part, so I may just donate this frame. So now that I have an assortment of pieces that I do really love and would like to see incorporated into the wall, we can now start playing around with different layouts to see what might work and fit on this wall. Before I get too crazy and I start putting things up randomly on the wall, what I'm gonna do and what I absolutely recommend doing is start by laying things out on the floor. Find a layout that you like, that makes sense, that fits your favorite pieces in, and then from there, I'm going to trace each frame on paper
so that I kind of have a rough template, and then I'm gonna put my concept and my idea for a layout up on the wall. This way we can kind of hang out with it, live with it for a little while, and make sure that the layout that we have is something that we actually end up liking.
You know, after a day of hanging out with it, seeing what it will look like, then we can go ahead and commit, put some holes in the wall, and get everything up there. right, so a handy trick that I did, knowing I want to keep it above the table, is that I measured basically everything against the edge of the table. So I know that everything's gonna fit more or less within the table. Goes over a little bit over here, but I'm okay with that. As you would have also seen, I also measured how high up I wanted on the wall, and I figured that I wanted to take up a width span of about 3.5 feet. I figured that will be enough that no one will hit their head on anything if they're hanging out on the bench, but it won't be so high that it's kind of encroaching on the ceiling and then makes the room look shorter. So I want to keep lots of space up there, but have no one hit their head. So I think I like this layout. Next step is to try it out. I'm going to take some paper and I'm going to cut out or tape pieces of paper to match the size of each of the frames that I'm putting up. So let me just explain a little bit more about exactly what I did. So for each item that I have, I basically just cut out pieces of paper that were roughly the size, well, for the plant thing, roughly the size. For each picture frame, the exact size, and then wrote which frame it is right on it. So I have a brown wooden shelf that I picked up for this project. So basically that's the length of the shelf. I have sheets of paper for the small gold frames. I put arrows on them just so I would know in my brain I want 2 horizontal, 2 vertical. I have the simple gold frame, which I intend to put this way. And then I kind of trace the border on it as well, just because I want to be able to differentiate which border, which gold frame, so that I could swap them out if I felt it was needed. Put the bolder one, different spot. You got me. I've got the Mr. and Mrs. For the really big gold frame. And now the next step is really just to recreate what I put on the floor up on the wall in paper.
Okay.
All right, so I've put everything up on the wall. I marked to make sure that no one would hit their head if they were a little bit taller, sitting on that bench, and maybe a little bit higher than I might have wanted to, but I think this will work out better in the long run anyway. It looks a little silly because it's just, again, white paper on white walls, but I'm gonna let this hang out for a little bit. I'm aware that everything on the wall is super crooked, but we'll let it hang out there. And in the meantime, I'm gonna play around with a few different ideas as it relates to what I wanna put in all the other frames. All right, so it has been a few days now with all of this paper up on the wall, and after staring at it, we've decided that this layout works for us. The nice thing is that at the end of the day, if in a couple months from now we decide we want to switch something up or move it around, a little bit of putty and paint covers any holes and we can always make changes. So this layout is the one that we have, that we love. Got Jason with me. He's going to help me put up all of these frames. So I've grabbed some tools. I've also placed an order with some personal pictures of ours that we love. So those have arrived in the mail. So I'm excited to get all of this up. So being that in advance, I traced out every single frame to its specific size, this is going to make putting up the holes in the wall a whole lot easier. We can literally just put the screw up on the wall based on where the paper's at, and then we don't have to worry about like laying it out and measuring it and worrying about the height once it's mounted on the wall. So that was some planning ahead. And then things like the big picture, which I think needs 2 screws, and the shelf, I've got a level so we can make sure it's all square. Ready?
Mm-hmm. The little black one's a little off. And then either the far right one's a little off. Yeah, that's good. And then the right side of the silver one by the plant on the diagonally up from the one is fixed. That right, yeah, like that. I think that's it.
What do you think?
Looks great.
It looks so beautiful, and I absolutely love each print that we ended up putting up there. It just feels so special. Each individual picture is a moment in time in our life together, and it's perfect. I'm so happy. I hope that you enjoyed watching us put together this gallery wall. I hope that you were able to take some tips and tricks based on me doing it so that you can implement it into your own home. Go down below, click the subscribe button. We'll be doing tons more videos like this one in the future. So thank you for joining me. See you in the next one.